नमस्कार। योगानंद जी, आप सुन रहे हैं मुझे? कैन यू हेयर मी? नमस्कार। Namaskar to all. Good evening, my dear friends who are with us for this talk. Sorry for the delay due to some technical issues. I'm thankful to my dear friend Nitin Sharma, Chairman, World Organization of Student and Youth, for inviting me here to deliver a talk and share my views on the effect of this pandemic on the global economy and the process of globalization. My dear friends, as we all are aware that the world is facing the humanity's biggest crisis after World War II. Till date, over 1.5 million people have been affected by COVID-19 and about 80,000 had already died worldwide. And I believe that this number may be underreported. Billions of people are indirectly affected and have suffered due to this global pandemic. At present, everybody is wondering over two important questions. One, when Corona will go? And second, how it would impact the economy and the jobs. And the friends who are with us on this live talk, they are more interested to know about the future of jobs. So I'll directly come to that question because first question is completely out of my preview when Corona would go. So I would like to deliberate on second issue as per my understanding. There are three important statistical figures predicted by the leading economists which I want to share with all of you. First, as per WTO forecast, the world trade is expected to fall by between 13% to 32% in 2020. So it is very significant when we expect that trade would be fall up to 32%. Second, the global economy can shrink by 1% in 2020. Although there is a estimate that India and China would continue to grow, but at very meager rate, at 0.2% and 1% respectively, but the overall global economy can shrink by 1%. And the third statistic is, according to the International Labour Organization estimates, it is expected that about 6.7% work hours will be wiped out globally in this second quarter, which is equivalent to about 195 million full-time workers. So you can easily assess that how it would impact on the employment. Then 195 million people can be displaced. These figures indicate that the impact of this crisis will be terribly more severe even than the effect of 2008 financial crisis. We all know that 2008 financial crisis was driven only by the demand shock, while this time the crisis is driven by both the demand shock and the supply shock. So obviously the impact would be more deeper. The 2008 crisis has already showed that these kind of severe crises can have a structural negative effect on globalization. So it raises an important question. Is it a death knell for globalization, which is already under pressure due to rising unemployment, inequality, populism, protectionism, and climate change, and so many other factors? We all know that the globalization means accelerated flow of goods, people, capital, information, technology, and energy across the borders. And the net result of this globalization is that trade has increased many folds in last 3 decades. It was about 39% of global GDP in 1991, and it rose to about 61% in 2008. But in last one decade, after the financial crisis of 2008, the curve has remained flat, and the ratio was about 59% in 2018. It means that in the last decade, the trade had been stagnant and not increasing. Not only trade, but the foreign direct investment flow was just 1.4% in 2018, which was also lowest since 1996. It means that there was a stagnation in the globalization of goods and capital even before this COVID 19 crisis. So I think there is a popular sentiment of disenchantment was already prevailing against this globalization, this process of globalization, this set of globalization. I'll give you two examples. In 2011, a socio-political movement was erupted in US, and the slogan was "We are 99%." This Occupy Wall Street movement was against the economic inequality, and in less than a month, protests had taken place in 950 cities of 82 countries. Second example I want to quote here is tens of thousands of European citizens took to street to protest a free trade deal being negotiated between European Union and United States and stalled that transatlantic trade and investment partnership deal, TTIP. So these two massive protests across the globe indicated that there is a sense of disenchantment for this globalization. Another important factor which I want to mention here that there had been no serious discussion at WTO after the 2008. We can see protectionism is rising. In 2018-19 only, 102 new restrictions were made by various countries. US-China trade war was already in place even before COVID-19. And now, when the countries are in dire need to give stimulus to their domestic industry to create jobs, definitely they would need space for more policy flexibility. I don't think countries would listen to dictates of World Trade Organization now about these subsidies. So my opinion that this COVID-19 crisis would weaken the WTO. So I again come back to this primary question: is it an end of globalization? This weak World Trade Organization, this kind of trade wars, this kind of protectionism, will it end the globalization? So, in my opinion, answer is probably not. Globalization is not going away, and it should not go away. But definitely, it would be reshaped and reformed and more attractive set of economic, social, and political processes. So it's the time of re-globalization, not deglobalization. So how can we do it? How can we develop a new kind of globalization, new set of globalization, re-globalization? It is the new reality of post-COVID world. So when we talk about re-globalization, what should be the spirit of that re-globalization? Ancient Indian philosophy has a mantra, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That means whole world is a family. So I think this Vasudev Kutumbakam, this spirit that whole world is a family should be the spirit of this new set of globalization that we call re-globalization. This globalization with the more human face, less carbon emission, more equitability among the nations and among the people in the same nation, with more focus on education and healthcare. So, how could we achieve this goal, which this new set of globalization, deglobalization? So, I would like to give 5 point formula based on ancient Indian economic thoughts that how we can develop this new set of globalization, deglobalization. And first one is decentralization. Decentralization is the new mantra for this reglobalization. This COVID-19 crisis exposed the most vulnerable aspect of this present set of globalization, and that is over dependence on global supply chain. Most of the countries are facing heat now, and they decided to strengthen the local supply chain. It has been realized that availability of goods is more important than the quality of goods, than the price of goods. US President Trump announced in a press conference that US would cut its dependence on other countries and would try to manufacture most of the things in US only. The same sentiment was expressed by PM Modi in his address to the nation. I'm quoting only these two leaders, but I'm sure that the same kind of sentiment is all around the globe. So it seems that the dependence on China driven global supply chain would decrease in the future. Process has already been started. United States, many European economies, including the Italy and even Japan, they have already announced that they are diversifying investment out of China. They are putting their industry out of China. So I think this process would bring a new opportunity for the emerging economies like India. We can take advantage of this situation, but we need to develop our manufacturing sector according to the needs of these developed economies. So this aspect I want to bring to notice to you. Many other emerging economies can also take advantage of this. But the most important thing is strengthening the local supply chain. That is the key to emerge out of this crisis. Look, when countries would focus on local manufacturing, it would not only create jobs for the community, but also aggravate the demand and the production. And growth may eventually happen when both demand and production rise. So, if we want to come out of this shrunk in the economy, we need to focus on local manufacturing. We need to focus on creating jobs for our local community, our young people. So, this is the key for creating job and enhancing growth. So, this is the one factor, decentralization. We have to develop local supply chains. We have to strengthen local supply chains. Second important aspect is regional cooperation. We need to increase the regional cooperation to strengthen the intra-regional supply chains. We may not solely dependent on local supply chains because world is integrated. So we need to depend on another countries, but it may be the nearby country, the neighboring country. So we need to strengthen the intra-religion supply chains. This is already happening. We can see US, Mexico, Canada agreement. European Union is also trying for self-dependence. So as we already discussed that WTO would be weakened, so we need to have more bilateral agreements to promote the cooperation. So we will see many such kind of bilateral agreements in the near future to promote this regional cooperation. So this is very important factor. Third factor is collaborative globalization. It is now certain that globalization of goods, people, and capital would face new restrictions. There will be no free movement of capital, goods, and people so frequently. So we have seen that Mr. Trump had already announced no immigration for next 6 months. We would see more visa restrictions in many more countries. Other countries would also do things like this. But one thing would be different, and that is information. The global transmission of ideas and knowledge will abate. We need to develop more collaborations for information sharing. We can restrict the movement of people, we can restrict the movement of capital, but we cannot restrict the movement of ideas, information. We need to develop it more. We need to develop more collaborations. So it means there would be less cutthroat competition, but more joint discoveries, more cooperation between governments, coordinated actions, sharing resources and knowledge would lead to more innovations. It means more local technology development, which would create more employment at local level. So this collaborative globalization would be the key factor for this new set of globalization, deglobalization. The fourth point is that this reglobalization should be environment friendly. Dear friends, in this phase of lockdown for few weeks, we can see rivers have become clean, air has become more pure. Nature is rejuvenating in many ways. Ozone layer has almost naturally repaired, and it happened in a time of few weeks only. It means that our so-called development model, led by this set of globalization, had damaged the environment. So now we need to work more on a clean and green technology with no or less carbon emissions. Another important lesson which has come through this crisis is that we can live comfortably with lesser goods and brands. So we must curtail the consumption. So we need to check our consumption pattern. So this globalization would be more environment friendly, would be more sustainable, would be more employment generated. Last and more important point I want to discuss here is that the economy should be based on ethics. There is a hymn in ancient Indian epic Mahabharata which says that dharma flows out of wealth like a river spring falls from a mountain. Dharma means ethics here. Ethics are necessary both in earning wealth and enjoying it. The another point mentioned in Gita says that one who cooks only for himself eats sin. So these values of compassion, kindness, charity are very important for every person who wants to create wealth. So this new reglobalization should be based on these values and not on greed, which was earlier the theme of this present set of globalization. So this ethics is very important when we create wealth. So my dear friends, it is time to rethink. This crisis has put forth a challenge for all of us to think about our present set principles, our present kind of globalization. This will not work in the future, so we need to develop this new kind of globalization, which I call reglobalization, which is based on principles like decentralization, more collaborative globalization, more regional cooperation, more environment friendly and ethics based economies. When we will follow all these principles and we will set this new kind of globalization, definitely we would able to develop a more prosperous society. We would able to more equitable society. So this I want to share with you that this COVID crisis has come with an opportunity to develop a more prosperous and equitable society and a more human-faced globalization phase that is called reglobalization. Thank you so much for listening me so patiently. Thank you so much. Namaskar. बस, हो गया सबका